Okay, gamers, it's time to talk about P1 to Silken Court. So, there's the red team and the blue team. Hopefully, you remember which team you're in. Not, here it is. So, red team starts on the Big Chungus. Here's Ridden Bear. Snodark Toast Kong, stay in the blue team. Okay? Okay. So, first thing that happens. The Big Chungus is gonna send the frontal over to the blue team. The big guy always frontals the blue team, and the tall guy always frontals the red team. Okay? So, take the frontal here, then you move, all good. And at the same time, or right after, the red range team moves to their positions. These three, you're a bit spread out. You want to be spread out enough that you don't link webs with each other. You just stand in it and soak it, and it disappears. These guys, they're baiting them for their melee pairs, except Otto, who will jump over this way. Samzai will take spots. And then the pairs link up. Yeah. And then spread a bit for the rain. You don't want to stack them. I don't know how much damage it does. Probably a lot. Get a dot. Not nice. Then you drop your colored puddles, soaks, for the other team to soak later on. Then that will happen. We will all move counterclockwise in the red team, and the blue team moves counterclockwise here as well. So, movement goes like this. And then in the range group, there's movement as well. The rule is just going to be the red team moves first, blue team moves second, but should be moving at about the same time. Ideally, Prime soaks whatever's closest to him, so he has maximum healing uptime. Titan soaks Prime's orb there. Yeah, don't kill each other. Okay? And at the same time, these guys are still webbed up. They're saving it for the charge over here. These guys stay on this side, and their pairs move to the other side of the charge. Blue team, you have to watch out that you do not hit Samsai, because it will blow him up. The big guy, he's gonna charge. And then we get the Namba Jump. This is probably the first time you use CDs. It's like 45 seconds in, and I'm not sure if damage pots are here, probably. We'll confirm that later. Okay, so after the charge, you spread again for rain. Pretty much mirroring what you did before. Don't go to Africa, just stay here. But do not stack. And then another counterclockwise movement. For the range team, it's kind of the same again, where healers ideally take the shortest path, but don't closest orb, but not walk over each other. Yeah, so next, after these soaks are done, there are two scenarios. This guy will either jump to the right or to the left. First scenario, jumps to the right. That means blue team baits this frontal this way, and red team can just move immediately. Then after the frontal has been cast and you dodged it, then the whole blue team moves on this side of the boss. And then you do the web drops again, red group, you guys spread, and you guys go like the same position relative to, well, 90 degrees right. And then you link up and you spread for rain. Oh yeah, this is the frontal where these range people and the paladins also use immunities, because there's very little time to soak them. So the less blobs to soak, the better. Okay, then you link up, and then again, counterclockwise movement. Yeah, range again. Prime move to the closest one and stop, and then the warlock. Blah 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 blah. Okay. And then charge 2 happens, and same again. These guys were on this side, relative, well, left side relative to the tall guy, and these guys move over. Blue team, watch out for Zamzai. Okay. And then the other scenario, of course, is that the guy jumps to the left. In this case, blue team is still baiting the frontal the same way, but then you move immediately out. Red team waits. You move the long way around to this side of the boss, and the red team goes here. Then it's the same. Baiting the web drops, linking up in melee, do not link up in range, and jumps and something like that, and counterclockwise movement. And then, well, we haven't drawn the charge there, but essentially, ooh, which one is it? This one, but instead, this way. Oh yeah. And then starts the intermission. Okay guys, so it's time to go over the first intermission. So, at the end of P1, what happened? Big Chungus goes over there, and we do big dam to him in the second damage amp, around 145. And then after that, what happens is we move to intermission positions. So the red group goes to marker, blue group goes to the blue marker, and then these specific range pairs go to these positions. Okay? And then the movement goes like this. I'll just quickly explain it just from red POV, and then we'll go through a video. And it's, of course, the same type of movement, just completely opposite on the blue side. So, we move left as a group, and then we get hits. We drop puddles, and then we move to the opposite side. We go left, we wait for a soak. There's going to be a pizza slice here. We're going to wait for it to go off, and then we move in and soak. Then, we're here. We bait left, and then move right. Wait for the pizza slice that's going to be here, and then we go in and soak the opposite groups. Orbs. And then again, bait left. But this time, we move right, and then rush the soak, because the pizza slice is not going to be on top of the opposite group's orbs. And then the same thing here. Again, bait left, then move right all the way, and rush the soak. So the order in which it happens is always the same. It is a fixed rotation that the boss does. Now, to better explain it, we'll look at a POV. Okay, so this is the blue melee POV. Of course, it is the exact same type of movement in the intermission for the red team, just on the opposite side of the boss. So, here is the charge. The boss is going to come in. Then damage amp. Up the damage amp, and then go to their markers. Their markers are a bit different than ours. These, but we've just swapped them around, but it's easy. Just go to your marker. And then you lightly spread, kind of like this. It's not a rigid formation. Just look at your position kind of in relation to the tank, but you don't want to be dropping these orbs on top of each other in the intermission, because when the opposite team's guys come in, they might not be wanting to double soak orbs. Okay? So, first move in here is they get hit, and then they move left. And you keep moving left, and then they wait for this slice to go off. Wait. And then they go in and soak. Okay? See, he instantly got a double soak because the guys on the other side were very stacked together. 4 soak should kill you. But hopefully we don't get a 4. Okay? So, and here, bait left, and then they start moving right. And then here we wait for this pizza slice to go off. Okay, it goes off, and then go soak him in. Yeah. And then bait left again, and then move right. And here, there's no slice, so we rush this. Go soak them all before it goes off. Safety, and then the same thing, bait left, and go right. Again, no pizza slice, so we rush it. That is the intermission. Now for the range POV. So this is only from the POV of 4 people. Cam, your mage, and Nips, and the double warlock. So, charge happened, damage amp, and then they spread to their positions in range. You'll know which one you are. Great plan. Just go check which marker you're supposed to be behind, and that's your position. Okay, he's gonna hop in, and this is just you going around each other in a circle, and then dodge the pizza slices, but you get a bit more uptime here. Just don't get knocked, and don't move too much forward, especially if it's the opposite color guys in front of you. Yeah, you just do this until the end of the intermission. Nice and simple. Okay, gamers, it is time to talk about P2 of Silken Court. So, there's a lot of text on the screen. This is just yoinked from Dratanos' guide's raid plan. I suggest reading it. Good info. But basically, the main thing in P2 is the grips and the dispels. So, if you are the first group picked for the grip, you'll get gripped in, you'll drop your colored puddles, and then you will spread left or right. Do not go that way. You have to spread left or right. Ideally, you snap your webs. This is semi-assigned here. You probably can do this. You will get webbed to the person closest to you, so you can force it, but for the next web vortex, it is highly unlikely that we will be perfectly positioned for it. So yeah. You snap webs, you go left, right, and then the other group gets pulled in 2 seconds after the first pull-in happened. So then they get pulled in and they run straight through to soak those orbs. Then the explosion happens, don't be in the purple circle, and then the team that was first pulled in, you just go around and soak these after the explosion, probably, ideally. So yeah. And then you get dispels after that. Basically, the tall guy, you have to go right under him. We should be calling the name of who goes first. They go under him, and then, like, every 2 seconds do a dispel. Yeah, he gets a 20% damage up, so it's good to do it early. Like, ideally, we do, like, 4, and then hold the last one until, like, the very end of his wipe cast, and then we have damage amp for as long as possible, but rather, of course, be safe. Yeah, after that, we get frontals on each of our teams. We'll be waiting for them, and then we dodge away, and this boss, he's going to teleport out. He has a teleport cast, and he'll face the direction he's going to teleport, so we know exactly where he's going, and then we kind of have to chase him the shortest path possible, and then we get a second grip. So this says that blue gets grip first, then red. That is not true. It can be either team getting grip first, and you kind of have to adjust based on if you get grip first or not. So yeah, first group will always do the get pulled in, and then go to the sides as much as possible to snap your webs, and then the other group gets pulled between these snappers, and then they go through and soak the opposite orbs. Then another dispel will happen. Ideally, so I think it depends on the weak aura, but I think it actually is that the blue debuffs are prioritized, so it's first blue melee, then blue range, then red melee, then red range. So you do the first 2 or 3, maybe even 4 dispels before this boss teleports to the middle. So we do those quickly, and then we have a little time to adjust positions. And yeah, then there's another damage amp. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, I didn't mention. So we might be lusting on this one. There are some guilds that are lusting at 330 now. The top logs are still lusting late, probably, especially for casters because of Spy Master stacks, but this might be the spot that we lust. Gotta see which one is better. The other lust spot is about 830 in 8-ish, 820, 830. Yeah. Yeah, and well, intermission we'll talk about later. But yeah, essentially you do end up then red group here on their marker, maybe a bit left of it, and blue group a bit left, yeah, clockwise from their marker. That's the intermission, but we'll get into that later. Hello gamers, it's time to talk about intermission 2. This one should be a lot simpler than intermission 1. There's no range pairs, and the movement is always towards the right if you have the chance. So, red team, start on red marker, blue team, blue marker. Of course, we'll call if it's different, depending on where we've ended up, whatever's simpler. Here it does say that preferably left or clockwise from the blue marker, but it should not matter too much. Again, we do want to emphasize that range, don't be too close. We will assign movement CDs. Don't be too close. We don't want the orbs that drop to be clumped up again. And yeah, just prioritize not being impaled. So I took a random log of guild doing it relatively well. You can see, well, we unfortunately can't see the rings here, but they're just moving right together. It's fine to be clumped while you're still moving, but then once you have soaked the other team's orbs and you come back in and range, make sure you stay in range. See a couple spikes there. Then just move together. Don't get hit by the rings. We do have a second slide about this right here, that in the second half, which would be 535 to 550, that you'd spread right of the marker you're currently at, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be completely 100% the same every time because it depends on the ring spawns. But again, just follow your tank. Don't move too far ahead. When we have the orb drops, be in the group together, but do not be stacked. Right. Okay, guys, time to talk about P3. So, at the end of intermission 2, we end up on opposite side of the boss. Simple. First thing that happens, red team, you're going to have to run to where the tall guy teleports. Not through the blue team's path, of course, if he teleport there. And then bait the frontal to a wall, so everybody has to be, like, on the side so you don't force the frontal through the middle. And then you dodge the frontal in some way. Blue stands opposite of where the red team is. Then a web vortex happens. Blue's going to be on this side of the boss, always. Red's going to be on this side of the boss, always here, hopefully. If you're grabbed first, everybody moves to the right. Everybody, because we need to keep these webs, especially if red team gets it first. You just always move right. If blue team gets pulled first, you go in, you still all go right, and then you can break your webs here. Blue team does not need to keep their webs. And then the second group, whoever's pulled in, goes in straight. And then we end up like this. And the big Chungus is going to do a charge, and every single red pair keeps their webs. Because we can't force who's pulled together. We're just going to all keep them. Nice and simple. And then we do DPS. First stamp. Then tall guy is going to TP once the stun is over on this guy. And wherever he TPs, red team move to the far side. We do not, as it says here, you will not do a lot of DPS. It's fine. We'll have lots of amps here anyways. Blue follows later when it's safe to do so, especially so you're not in the path of the red team in case they get pulled early. Have not been able to move all the way. So here's another web vortex, the same thing. First, what happens here? Same thing. First team goes left and right with their pair, ideally with their pairs, but rather first go out of the way, snap web pairs later. If not possible, it's fine. You snap later, but then the other team will be pulled in and they go in between that team. Okay, yeah. And then dispels will happen. We will stay to the same side we end up after the web vortexes. So if in the previous picture here, red team was on this side, and let's say they got the first pull in, they go in and then snap their webs, and then they all end up here. That's why red's here. And then both teams move to next to the tall guy, and then it is very important, as it reads here, that you only go under the tall guy if you have the dispel. Only then, because cannot afford for the dispels to go on someone else. Of course, we still have Warlock dispels, but it is so much time. It says here one dispel can be done here at the wall before he jumps, but it'll depend how fast we are, how coordinated we are. But yeah, should be fine. And then, again, the same thing. It's repeating. Red was on this side. We don't know where he ports, but we can see where he ports because he casts teleport facing the direction he moves. Red will move to the side, one side, whichever side is closer and you don't go through the blue team, bait the frontal, move out, end up on the wall side of the boss. Same thing, first team gets pulled, they run all right. We have to keep the webs here again. Everybody keeps the webs in the red team. You grab second, you move through the boss. So yeah, then second charge, every red pair needs to stop this charge. Blue should be on the wall because they went through, or then if they went right, they have to end up on the wall. And yeah, ideally we move as the red team together with the webs towards the middle of the room. I think this is the time where we're getting rings. So you'll have to dodge the rings while keeping the web intact. And then after he's charged, tall guy is going to do his teleport to the middle, and then blue team can move in. And because blue team has prio on dispels, before he TPs, if there's a blue with a dispel, you can do 1 or 2 dispels in there. We just have to make sure we're coordinated. So this particular overlap is like the 831. Yeah, 820, 30-ish. And this is the time where most guilds before were lusting. We won't, but this is the latest time we'll send second pots. The boss could be dead before this, depending on how much damage we do earlier. But yeah, this is a very hard overlap. You have the charge, you have the web, and then you also have the dispels. So you're taking a lot of damage as a raid here. Use all defensives latest here, and then after this has happened, you get through this, there's absolutely nothing until the enrage, and then poof, boss dead.